Howdy, 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 this is JL for another Weekly Shonen Nonsense for January 21st, 2024. Onward to comics! One Piece, chapter 1104. Well, having seen this punch coming for the last 2 weeks, I still say it's worth it. Yeah, so, chapter begins, of course, with, Saturn going, wait, hold on a second, you're still alive? Before Kuma lays him out in the most spectacular way he could. Going through several buildings and being, crushed underneath them. It's nice. Also, apparently Kuma's supposed to have a self-destruct button, and he's also supposed to be vegetatively dead, so... Power of love? Yeah, that's great that Vegapunk pulls that out at the end, I don't know. And of course, while, Saturn has been decked, that was just one punch. This man is not going to go down with just one Kuma punch, of course. Funny enough, Luffy's AWOL right now, so don't know where he's at. And Saturn's back up. Kizaru's still standing with Saturn. And a buster call's been made. Oh, joyous day. The second buster call of the series. Well, the second in-canon buster call, or current canon buster call. Yes, there's been a buster call in the past, or whatever. Still, really big stuff. This is the next big battle, and it's going to be insane. Of course, now the entire thing is about escape, getting out of Egghead, getting away from this, because right now I don't think they're quite ready to handle guys like Saturn. Kizaru maybe, but Saturn no. And of course we have a broken down Kuma, a distressed Bonnie who's finally reconnected to her vegetative father figure, and, some of the Vegapunks are still around, sort of. So this is going to be some hectic, crazy nonsense going to be happening here soon, and I'm looking forward to it. I love One Piece. Shadow Eliminators, Chapter 6. We're going on a field trip. Anyway, so yeah, of course, our boys are doing school stuff. They're going out to a botanical gardens where they're going to draw them. And, of course, some school shenanigans happen. We get a little bit of a flashback involving Granny training our boys on the weekends. And a bit of an explanation on Shadow Eliminators, why they do it, the fact that the world's very imbalanced for some reason. Stuff for later. Of course, right now, a bowl cut gets angry and manifests a stand. And before our boys can deal with it, another kid comes in and deals with it. And then kicks our boys and says, hey, there can only be one. It's alright. Can't really complain about this comic too much. The art's good, the direction's fine. It does seem like it has a competent writing and art direction, but at the same time, it has no hook. There's nothing pulling me to make me watch more than just doing this little diary thing, so it's alright, but I don't think it's going to live very long. Green Green Greens, Chapter 7. And with the golf competition over, Hagio steps away and out of the series. Psych. Nah, he's still around. Especially considering he needs to help our boy learn how to putt. And also Nadeshiko for some reason. So yeah, of course, our boy wins the competition and goes on to wonder, what should I do next? And they all go play real golf. So he's like, alright, I'll go play in the next upcoming tournament. And we then cut to him trying to putt. Only true men know how to putt. And unfortunately, he's not a true man quite yet. Everyone else is around Nadeshiko's like, oh, you should teach him. She's like, no, I can't teach him shit. Immediately a hard cut to her playing in front of him, getting holes every single time she putts. Some kind of putts. But of course, he's like, I don't quite get it. Maybe I should try to work towards playing with her someday. She's never going to be around for long. She's really skilled. Someday she'll leave, but I think, I'll be ready for when she's about to go. Cut to this guy called Oliver coming in, going, oh, I've just gotten an invitation for you to go to St. Beyond College, which is apparently a college in the States. It has really nice golf courses. Probably is full of prep school assholes. Oh, God, just full of these jockey, waspy motherfuckers. I'd hate that place. My college didn't have a golf course in it. All the better for it. Fuck that fucking institution. Oh yeah, and she's going to be going all the way to, America, by the way, for this. So, hey, tomorrow is today, I guess. So yeah, that's going to be the big hooked to the next episode, next chapter of this. So it's all right. It's a fine series. It's cute. Uh, golf is an obnoxious sport, but it's still fun to see a kid trying to do something well. Two on Ice, Chapter 16. How do you explain the last 15 chapters? Yada yada, so on and so forth. So yeah, of course, the end of the last chapter we had Takayuki Sora coming up to our boy and girl, and our boy going, hey, so how did you do that quad axel? Of course, Sora doesn't answer that question, and instead goes like, why are you helping her? And he's like, I wanted to do pairs. I'm like, but why? You're so talented. He's like, yeah, but I want to do pairs because I like her and I want to do stuff with her. And this sickens Sora to the point of like saying, oh, only beauty can come from repulsiveness, and then, bams off somewhere. Then he goes like, how dare they be naive, Adam and Eve's in the Garden of Eden. I should teach them like Satan did with the apple, which is just like, wait, so you're trying to identify with the snake here in that story? What? Why? What kind of Christian bullshit is this? But yeah, of course, this, meeting the main villain shakes Hayama to no end, and he's like, I don't know how to lift. Hey, can I be the girl part this time? And the chapter ends with hilarity of like, that was probably not the right thing to say to this dude. It's okay. It's definitely still wordy and a little bit creepy. I mean, the dude is a creep. Sora is just ew, gross. Guy is really not a cool dude. Like, I mean, I'm definitely gonna see like, if this gets off the ground, it's gonna have fangirls, and this guy's gonna have them in the worst way possible. But at the same time, I don't really see the series lasting too long. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong several times. But again, while sportsy, it doesn't have the hook quite here, and I'm kind of leaning on it not surviving. Just got a small hunch on that one. Kagurabachi, Chapter 17. I've got you for 12 seconds. That's 12 seconds of playtime. So yeah, the battle goes on for exactly 12 seconds, and in the middle of it, they have tea. Yeah. So it turns out their metaphorical conversation isn't really happening, of course, and they decide to share tea and eat dango together. And of course, Sojo has a bit of a weird reaction to this, like he's clearly like, evil and wants to kill Chihiro, but he also is really fascinated about, learning about his hero, the fanboy dilemma. But in the real world, of course, it's not going so hot for Chihiro at first. He loses an arm, of course. Not his dominant arm, thank God, but still an arm. But, as the battle rages on, Chihiro's like, you may respect me, but I don't respect you at all. I'm going to end you. And he lives up to his promise. At the very last second, he uses all of his power, manifests on top of himself. He gives himself, a triple-fold layer of power in order to outpace and outpower Sojo, cutting off his arm, as well as just destroying Cloud Gouger. It's a beautiful panel. And of course it ends at the 12-second mark. So, hey, congratulations. You did exactly the thing that you said. So, it's good. I still love this. This is a really good series. I mean, it's definitely reaching a zenith here. We're at a big battle point. We're at the 17-chapter mark. We've just destroyed our first sword out of 7. It is a little fast, but hey, that's not a bad thing. I'm sort of hoping that Sojo's dead, though, because that would be all that blood, it needs to mean something. And we've already had characters die, so I'm just saying is I don't want a rival character, especially a guy like this dude. Just he hurts kids. No, I don't want this guy around. It's gross. Mama Yu Yu, Chapter 18. Alright, so we got Escaba versus Raph, and it's already over. So yeah, Grisha's left. He's taken all of his toys with him, including Escaba, especially Escaba, but Corleo's not done. Apparently, when Minerva whispered to Corleo, she mentioned that her opponent could be wooed over to their side, so Corleo goes running off to woo the furry lolly. I sort of wish I was kidding. Because, yeah, indeed, Monica, the new character, a demon lord, is a small, furry
fox girl, I think. She seems kind of foxy. No tail, though. Either which way, before Grisha can warp her back, Corleo tackles her to the ground and keeps her. She, of course, is a very stereotypical character. She's wearing a kimono. She has a sword that's bigger than her. She speaks in the third person, and she's all doing this for head pats because, Corleo tries to convince her, hey, Grisha's kind of evil. He has this thing that's going to try to kill you if, you let it. But he's like, and she tells him, oh, but, he gave me head pats, so he must be good. And right as she says this, the end comes out of the pocket she has and is about to eat her when Corleo jumps in and just destroys him in the most beautiful way possible. Just cuts him into julienne squares. It's beautiful. And, of course, through some saving of her life and wooing, he finally gets her to stay by his side, which she apparently takes as a marriage proposal. And she's like, oh, well, I'll be a tsundere about this and not want to be with you, Baba Baka. But as she does this, Alicia comes running in, saying, all right, I've taken care of my idiot enemy. And, then we reveal the other thing that apparently Monica has, which is boob envy. Thus, the title of the comic makes sense now. Boing, boing. Anyway, we then cut to Grisha, going like, wait, where's Monica at? Oh, god damn it. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'll just, revive Evan and get the show on the road. So yeah, apparently that's our next goal is reviving Evan. Or at least for Grisha. For Corleo, that's the real question. What's he going to do with his new found haremite? I like this series. I really feel bad if this gets canceled. It's really funny. It's really cleverly written. The villain and the hero are like this really nice dynamic, and the villain is like flappable, but in a believable and fun way. He's a very cool character, this Grisha. Evil, of course, but very fascinating for his kind of type. So, I don't know. I still like it. I really hope it continues on. Martial Master Asumi, Chapter 29. While I couldn't call Round 1 a wash, I can certainly agree with the hero that it wasn't fun for him. So yeah, we got Nito versus Shotaro, and yeah, it's a pretty good chapter as of, battling back and forth, but it's mostly just Shotaro giving him the beatdown. Everything Nito tries, Shotaro has a counter for. Oh, you want to counter me? Cool, I counter your counter. Oh, cool, you're going to grab me? Oh, I've already anticipated that. I'm already got you on the ground. Oh, you want to switch your styles up? Cool, I'm going to grab your leg and force you to be in a position of just a punching bag. It is glorious, beautiful fighting. Of course, the round ends right before a horrific beatdown, and Nito goes shuffling back to his corner going, wow, that sucked. And the chapter sort of ends with a pseudo-flashback where we start seeing, because, of course, Shotaro has been studying Nito's fighting style. Nito clearly has been studying Shotaro. And the one thing he didn't watch was Shotaro versus Kazlo. So next chapter, we're probably going to be getting a parallel between Shotaro's fight with Kazlo and, of course, Nito's current fight with Shotaro. So the brothers dealing with the same opponent. It's a very fun dynamic, very, very great pull-in for the audience to kind of see, parallels. It can lead to some amazing art, too. Running towards Chapter 30, it's still on a good high note here. We're seeing our boy, learning and progressing. Haven't really slowed down yet. This might be one that lasts a while. I like it. Nue's Exorcist, Chapter 34. Oh, look at them. They're family planning. Wait a minute, that's not right. So yeah, of course, Gakuro just can't go running in to save his friends. They have to think of a plan. Thankfully, Karasu Tengu's here, and Karasu Tengu has the magical ability to make people turn invisible for about a minute. But of course, to have two people, turn invisible together, they have to hold hands like a couple. Oh no, I can't hold Oni-chan's hand like a couple. Baka. Just made myself cringe there for a minute. So of course, Shitotsu and Gakuro practice, unbeknownst that they are not actually doing the thing that allows them to, go invisible, leading to, of course, shenanigans. But they make their way toward the compound where our other heroines are being held, and run into the level 3, which at first they just kind of walk past and avoid until they turn around and look at what it actually is. And turns out it looks a lot like what killed Daddy Dearest. For Gakuro, it seems like he's just kind of, indifferent, scared. He's, terrified. He's worried about his friends, and this monster is basically in their way. Meanwhile, the calm and collected, usually very professional Shitotsu goes stark craving mad and punches the crap out of it. Fuck the whole saving other people. My trauma is right here. So the chapter ends with her screaming that she's gonna fucking kill that thing, and God help her, she probably isn't going to survive this battle if she's really that crazy. It's a, pretty decent arc so far. It could be going anywhere. We have a stealth section leading into a bombastic, big battle where we probably have our boy, going off saving the girls while she takes care of the giant monster, runs to the big bad. They duke it out. Bit formulaic. We kind of see where this is going, but still, harem shenanigans with one's sister aside, it's still a pretty decent story. Kill Blue, Chapter 37. Ooh, a color cover. So, of course, last we left off, our heroes were having a debate about what it means to be friends and love friends that are not the same gender as us. And we continue the debate, because, of course, other Hime is more focused on the debate rather than, the surfing competition they're in. And that, unfortunately, comes to a head when she, through a loving confession of desire for Ogami, like how she loves him not on a physical level, but on a spiritual one as well, he turns her down hard. And then goes off to crush a gnarly wave, too. Nice. And, of course, leaving other Hime devastated, sitting there in the water, not doing anything, passing over waves. And it looks like they're on their way of winning the competition when Norin just comes out of nowhere going, hey, it would kind of suck if this whole competition is won with you giving up halfway through. Come on, where's your conviction? And of course, other Hime's like, man, I like you too. Fine, I'll crush you in this competition, whatever. And then gets up and goes for waves. So, yeah, good work, Norin. You could have won if you had only just kept your mouth shut and let her feel defeatist. It's still funny. I love this series for it, just as goofy as it is. We get that wonderful panel of the off-the-tip moment, just very classic, very tubular man. Of course, just Ogami being more of a figure than an actual character this chapter, though still that moment of like, yeah, I don't really think of you as a romantic interest. Just crushing other Hime. Beautiful stuff there. Cypher Academy, Chapter 56. I'm not gonna lie, I've been ragging on this series a while, but it did engross me toward the middle of this chapter, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the battle is begun, the final battle of the series, where we have Villain Girl versus Iroha in the dark, dank, skull-lined corridors. What do? One of the first puzzles of the story, they crossword puzzle about, one's identity. But this time, they are writing the other person's thing, and if, they get something wrong, they can deny it and have to go back and write it again, and that doesn't come up, it doesn't matter. Either way, they're writing each other's, crossword puzzles. Villain Girl writes Iroha's out, exactly correctly. Meanwhile, Iroha just kind of, puts a cipher for his answers, going, hey, put a code in a code. And yeah, turns out that actually makes him win. So she's like, oh, I'm out, and, logs off. The corridor crumbles and reveal all the morgue and the final statue of the now Code Emperor Iroha. Ugh. Yeah, that feels unsatisfying. But there is the idea that this is the end of the series. I hope. Oh God, I seriously hope the next chapter or the next 2 chapters are the end. There is no reason to keep this going for this long. But, still, the entire thing involving the final code, well, a good flashback, good callback to the original. It does kind of hurt it by being a little bit too, I don't know, underwhelming. Yeah, he becomes the Code Emperor at the end of this, very much implying that, this is him reaching the peak, he's won the morgue, he's gotten what he needs, and the next chapter is going to be him fighting, could go with something. I don't know, but it's like, you could have had a really big final battle. We are literally seeing a corridor full of skulls and skeletons, and the big final code battle for it is a crossword puzzle. Like, you could have had like Satan or like Death come out and go, "You'll solve my puzzle," and then they battle. But like, at the last minute, Villain Girl's like, "I'll leave it to you," and like does something to allow Iraha to win, and he becomes the Code Emperor. Well, where she like at least validates their friendship and rivalry. I don't know. Either way, I'm still happy that this might be ending soon. So hey, all good. But it could also be just the first half, and I'm crying myself to sleep knowing that. Akane Banashi, chapter 94. Ooh, a color cover. So, alright, the story continues on, though it's not really a big chapter. It's mostly just a build-up for the next big arc, kind of continuing what was happening last time, where we have Cho-Cho meeting with Shigema, talking about the Shigema art, and we have a discussion of like what the future events are going to unfold. We have the discussion of the mass expulsion, which leads to Taizen feeling guilty, and then Sen shows weird plot against Shigema for some reason, which we haven't really laid privy to, which is already on top of the drama between the Arakawa school, which we've been following, and the rest of the Rakugo Federation. And then just kind of putting all that all to the side, we have Akane doing her form of Tanuki dice to Asa there, and Asa's kind of dumbfounded, but this all leads into her going to the debut, where she's going to debut this to the crowd and the audience, obviously, and apparently also to her father. Her dad's going to be in the audience. So, fascinating stuff. To be honest, I've been praising this thing from day one. I really love Akane Banashi, and this really kind of builds onto the lore and this world that we live in, because, man, I did not expect that, entertainment politics could be this fascinatingly fun. Yeah, I've read like things like Ocean no Ko and so on, but like this is about like an art style which I've known about for years, but never truly gotten into, and this is sort of making me very fascinated in the oral tradition. So hey, good stuff. Looking forward to the big, huge debut arc. Blue Box, chapter 133. This chapter was fascinating. So, of course, we cut to the ongoing bout between Amy and Saisho. Saisho is not doing as hot as they were. They're still powerful, but they're not necessarily overtaking Amy anytime soon. The play keeps going, but then something happens. A nasty crash. Shinatsu runs into one of the Saisho players. They land on the ground. But if she gets it back up, starts running around, shoots a few baskets. But then we get a moment, just a few moments of just a flashback to her training, Taiki meeting her, and then it happens. We see Chinatsu on the ground, like clutching her foot. Yeah, apparently the fall might have done more damage than they thought. She gets carted off to the field, leaving Yumika dumbfounded, because of course, without Chinatsu there to carry them, Amy loses. And, of course, they lose their chance of going to nationals. But then, something interesting happens. After the bout, while Taiki is sitting, kind of stewing in his own stuff, Yumiko comes running up to him and going, like, why did she do that? Why did she, like, basketball's all her life. What did she do? Like, why did she run away? And then it dawned on me, did she throw that? Like, in the sense of, like, did she give up the match partway through? Because, like, there's could be reasons for that, especially considering, like, Chinatsu's entire thing is basketball. Her entire reason for doing anything is going to nationals and competing in nationals. That's what the entire last chapter was about. And this moment of her, like, falling, like, there's something to it, right? Or it has to be. Or at least, one would think there would be something to do this. Realistically, it's still an injury. like a sprained ankle is still a sprained ankle in the middle of a game. Yeah, she was running on it. Like there's a good chance that she may have not been actually injured, but there's even a better chance that she was injured and tried to run on a broken foot, which is not a smart idea. I mean, as it is real, there was kind of going to happen that they were going to lose. Or at least, with the idea that Chinatsu was the ace here and the only capable player to deal with Yumika on Saisho's side. But the idea of her throwing this for Yumika is fascinating. This series has layers, just beautiful, terrifying moments of you have the biggest chance to win it all and take the gold, but you pull back at the last minute, not because it's something you want to give up on just now because your friend is in the way, but something has happened to you that you have to address, and that takes priority. Again, it's very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next chapter gives us, what the explanation is, where Chinatsu's head is at, because she is not going to be well. I don't think she's going to be like, oh yeah, I just did this for her, or oh, I'm fine. No, there is drama here, and I am for it. This is beautifully done. God, love Blue Box. Just it's really good stuff. Witch Watch, chapter 140. I hate kids with funny accents. Anyway, so of course, this is actually a story about the middle schoolers. Yeah, it's instead of following Nico and her antics, like we kind of should be more often, we actually follow Mahiro and his friends from the middle school, specifically Fran, who we discover isn't at school today, even though they're supposed to be going and studying together. Apparently, Fran's robot is in the repair, and she doesn't want to go out because she's apparently a NEET. Of course, because they're flaking on her, Mahiro's like, that's lame, you should have just come here yourself. And she's like, fine, you can come to my house. And of course, we go to Fran's house, which looks like a robot. So they go inside, and of course, there's some robot shenanigans. Their family robot, Dripper, the actual repaired robot version of her, which she shamelessly strips because, that's not her. It's just a robot facsimile. It's not the real her. Literally self-objectifying. But then we actually see Fran in real life and discover her big secret. She has a funny voice. And that's it. Nothing else. I was actually expecting her to be kind of rotund or have a double chin or something. Funny voice. What is she, Pika? Yeah, she's generally okay, except her voice sounds like, she's Mike Tyson. Yeah, makes her cute, and she's like, yeah, but that makes people not take me seriously. There's this whole gap between me and my voice, and I don't want that. But, of course, she has to come to the realization that these are her friends. They like her as she is, and she should accept herself instead of just, denying them something because she feels uncomfortable with her self-image that she's trying to maintain for them. So that's a pretty simple chapter. And at the very end, for no real discernible reason, she dresses her robot like a superhero named Bio-Ren. So this is Bio-Fran, a bikini-clad android girl who does rocket punches. It's for Nico, but still really bizarre. Either way, it's a fine chapter. Not as funny as the other chapters have been. It's definitely not going and doing any other thing it could. I mean, robot shenanigans, but I think it could go farther. I'm just saying, still. Sakamoto Days, chapter 151. There really isn't much to say about this chapter. It's quite literally just a fight between Nagumo and Gaku. Not really any deeper meaning behind it. No, filmography to go through. No, themes to be uncovered, discussions to be had. It's just a big fight scene, and it's wonderful because of it. Just all the damage they do, just the plane they run through, the 1-inch punch, the using your slide rule to become a hammer, and then using the plane to bash your opponent. and then ending with like, oh shit, you broke my weapon? Cool, I have an invisible sword. Like, it's just goofy, crazy nonsense. Describing it in words really does not do it justice. You need to read this or watch this if there's an anime coming out. Please let there be an anime coming out. Good lord, I need this in my veins. But still, there's quite a few questions I have. Like, I mean, Nagumo has an invisible sword. How does that even work? Like, this is supposed to be him, like, fighting a pseudo young version of Sakamoto. What could that possibly mean about their previous battles? Is Gaku actually dead? Because that's kind of impressive that they kill off one of the general commanders this soon, especially by Nagumo and not Shin. But hey, you'll find all these answers next time with Sakamoto Days. Undead Unlocked Chapter 191. Oh yeah! Color cover for the 4-year anniversary. Sick! Wicked sick! Anyway, this chapter is actually not about Fuko, even though it's been the Fuko ride for the longest time. Today is Andy's day. So, of course, Apocalypse is talking to the Master Rules, going, hey, yeah, so they've been kind of inducing a bunch of penalties down there, so we're opening up the rules a bit to allow more Master Rules to come down, at least more than 2. And, of course, all the Master Rules were like, hey, yeah, we want to go down there and cause Ragnarok early. But Andy steps in, because he's there, and, prevents them from moving forward. And we get a few bits and pieces. We get, of course, one of them can manipulate time, while the other one can manifest weapons out of nowhere. But Andy, holds them all down with chains. Even the first seat has a trouble, taking down Andy with, a soul sword and soul weapons, even soul kamehamehas. And it seems at the very end that Andy starts to lose his grip, but just on the 2 weakest ones who go flying off to Earth, and then the time limit hits. So Andy's gamble is more in making sure that not all of them get to Earth, just the weakest ones so that they can get properly dealt with by our heroes. Because, Andy trusts Fuko and the rest to take care of the problem, even though they had such a hard time with Sick last time. But, of course, the first seat is like, ugh, disgusting, you believe in people? But, of course, not us. We believe in our friends. We believe in the Union. And that leads to the very end of the chapter, where Fuko flies off on Flying Nimbus to Brazil. Great chapter. It's wonderful to see Andy back, even if it's not quite the same Andyisms. We're not hearing him, say, wicked sick, or see him, pulling out, anything to do with Fuko, lose that dynamic a bit. And we don't really get to see, a giant sensor bar over his dick, but we do get a mention of his dick about flopping around, and that's important. So, still, great series. I'm really looking forward to seeing the next big arc get topped back and get back in the swing of things. Hopefully we're going to get maybe more characters all at once to finally pass through the tragedy and, get to the present. Because we're in 2015, and we have, just a few more years left. My Hero Academia, Chapter 412. The final battle continues. Yes, Deku and Shigaraki are still fighting at the base of Mount Fuji, and thankfully, with a well-timed Delaware smash, Deku's able to deflect the decay, at least for a little bit. Of course, this doesn't mean that Shigaraki's out of the fight. However, Shigaraki is still being manipulated by Deku, forcing him to overthink things, be constantly in danger, allowing Deku to at least take one of his hands. This still doesn't mean that he's disabled. He just continues to fight with his other hand. And, clearly still thinks Deku's stupid for, trying to save him when there really isn't anything to save. Even the voices in Deku's head are going, hey man, you ought to kill this dude. He's not worth saving. But Deku refuses, stating that regardless of whether he's evil as hell on the surface, if there's some core of him, there's some piece of him that's still human, that's worth saving. And, there's a part of you that's cynical, going, yeah, fuck, kill these idiots, they're not worth keeping. And yeah, you could say that about certain people. I mean, fuck the Nazis. The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi, and, I hope they all burn in hell. But it is still a beautiful sentiment that, Deku truly believes that there is something worth saving here, that he sees something in Shigaraki that everyone else can't, and that is that he's a human being, something like that was not in his control. Clearly, Shigaraki's entire life has been designated by one bad day, and if he hadn't had that bad day, maybe he wouldn't be the villain he is. What is the thing that's truly causing him to be this way? And that's what Deku wants to know and be able to deal with in the future and, help with. But then the chapter ends with the culmination of all of this. Deku's on the back foot, and the voices in his head leave an ultimatum at the very end, stating that it's time to part ways with One for All. So, we're going to look at an explosive finale next time, hopefully, maybe in the next couple of chapters, where Deku's going to just finally let loose one last big hit that finally takes down Shigaraki, or possibly something anticlimactic. But regardless, it's going to be one big final attack or something, his own version of the United States of Smash, that finally ends it, and thus ends the entire thing involving One for All and All for One. Wonderful bit of storytelling, still good. I do understand people complaining that it's being dragged out a bit. Definitely this feels like that. But it's for the stakes, man. This is the final battle. We gotta have our hero on the back foot. We gotta have him, stitching himself together with his own power just to stay around in the fight, a shonen protagonist version of Guts. It's still good. I appreciate the art and the artistry on hand. So, good job. And that's going to do it for this week. And what a week it was. 2024 is in full swing. We got big new chapters with One Piece and My Hero and Akane Banashi and Blue Box. Just all looking great. Things are concluding too. We're possibly seeing the end of My Hero Academia soon, and hopefully Cypher Academy. So great start to the year, really, and looking forward to the next base of chapters, especially considering One Piece isn't on a break next week. Hell yeah. But anyway, favorite, comment, subscribe. It's surprising. I've been doing this for almost nearly a year. I wonder what I'm going to do next. Anyway, bye!